Ryan Sterling, a titan of Wall Street, lived by one rule: win. Business, life, it was all a game, and Ryan always played to dominate. At a penthouse party overlooking the glittering city, his friend Mike tossed out a challenge that reeked of audaciousness. "I bet you wouldn't dare marry someone outside your usual type, Ryan." Mike's smirk was pure provocation. Ryan, known for dating models and actresses, paused, intrigued. "And what's the prize, Mike?" Mike, swirling champagne, declared, $1 million, but you have to marry her and stay married for 6 months. $1 million and a challenge, Ryan was in. The woman Mike had in mind was Sarah Jenkins. Ryan didn't know her, but to him, she was just another target in a high-stakes game. He'd conquer this too. Details arrived soon after. Sarah Jenkins, independent, strong-willed, not the type to swoon at his feet. Intriguing. Ryan was used to control. How would he handle a woman who wouldn't bend? Their first meeting was at a swanky downtown restaurant. Sarah arrived, and Ryan instantly saw she was different. No pretense, no batting eyelashes. She met his gaze head-on. "Ryan Sterling, I presume?" Her voice was direct, confident. "Sarah Jenkins," Ryan replied, extending a hand, a practiced smile plastered on his face. She hesitated, then shook his hand, her grip firm. "Let's cut the crap," Sarah started, her tone blunt. "I know about the bet, the terms, everything." Ryan's smile faltered, impressed by her directness. "And yet, you still agreed to meet?" Sarah paused, considering. "Let's just say I have my reasons. 6 months is a long time, Ryan. Don't think you can play me." Ryan's interest peaked. This wasn't going to be as easy as he thought. He liked that. As the meeting wrapped, Ryan was hooked. Sarah wasn't playing by his rules. He found himself thinking about her constantly. How to approach this? He was used to dictating the game. Now, it felt like Sarah had her own playbook. Their second meeting was at a small coffee shop, Sarah's choice. A far cry from Ryan's usual haunts. He was curious. Why this woman? Why this agreement? Sarah was already there sipping tea, a calm smile on her face. Warm, yet still that underlying steel. "Thought you were a 5-star restaurant kind of guy," she teased. "Sometimes routine gets boring," Ryan replied, trying to sound casual, though he felt slightly off balance. Small talk faded quickly. "If we're doing this," Sarah said, placing her cup down, "I need to be clear. I don't want your money, your lifestyle. 6 months, Ryan, then we walk away." Ryan watched her. She was serious. This wasn't about social climbing. "What do you want, Sarah?" "Freedom," she answered instantly. "This marriage changes nothing about my life. Understand?" Ryan smiled. Freedom? Fine by him. Marriage was just a game to win. 6 months, separate ways. Sarah studied him, making sure he was sincere. She had her own reasons for this, her own plan. She knew Ryan might try to manipulate things, but she trusted herself. The meeting ended amicably, roles defined. Sarah's independence, Ryan's formality. But as the wedding day loomed, Ryan felt a shift. This wasn't just a game anymore. The wedding was a sterile affair, like signing a contract. Ryan, the strategist, already tasted victory. 6 months, $1 million, easy. He'd bring Sarah around to his world of luxury. He took Sarah to his penthouse, a glass and steel monument to his wealth, overlooking the city. This was his domain, where he'd win her over with opulence. But from the moment she stepped inside, Sarah remained detached. Her look wasn't awe, but defiance. 6 months, Ryan, she stated, walking to the window, the city lights reflecting in her cool gaze. Not a day more. Ryan smiled, confident. He'd seen this before. Resistance was just the opening move. They all eventually succumbed. Sarah would too, or so he thought. The first days were a barrage of excess. Jewelry, designer clothes, lavish trips. Ryan expected Sarah to melt, to embrace the lifestyle. Instead, she rebuffed it all. She stuck to her simple routine, unmoved by the trappings of wealth. "I don't need these things, Ryan," she'd say, her calmness infuriating him. It bothered him. Ryan Sterling didn't get denied. This wasn't just about the bet now, it was personal. He had to win, prove he was in control. He started tightening the screws. "No need to work anymore, Sarah," he'd say casually, implying her role as his wife was enough. When she insisted, he'd create delays, reschedule her meetings, subtly sabotage her plans. Control was the name of his game. But Sarah wouldn't break. She was a rock against his manipulations, and that just fueled his determination to crack her. Their relationship became a minefield. Small provocations in conversations, sharp words from Sarah deflecting every attempt to belittle or control her. One night, frustration boiling over, Ryan tried a different tactic. I don't understand you, Sarah, he said, staring at her. Any other woman would kill for this life. What do you really want? Sarah, impassive until now, finally met his eyes. They blazed with an intensity Ryan hadn't seen before. What do I want? Respect, Ryan. I'm not a pawn in your game. You think money buys everything. It doesn't buy dignity, integrity. You're surrounded by all this, and you're still empty inside. That's what you can't stand. Her words hit hard. Ryan felt a jolt. Was he losing? Sarah wasn't just resisting his power. She was dismantling the facade he'd built for years. It scared him. No one had ever challenged him like this. And Sarah, seeing through his wealth, it made him feel exposed. Instead of backing down, Ryan doubled down. He started isolating Sarah, cutting off her contacts, sabotaging her career, trying to make her dependent on him. But Sarah wasn't easily intimidated. Each blow just made her more resolute. She held onto her dignity, refusing to be molded by him. Then one night, Sarah played her own hand. You think you're in control, Ryan, she said, her voice dangerously calm. But you don't know the half of it. I have a plan too. And when the time is right, you'll see this game is bigger than you ever imagined. Ryan stared, a flicker of fear in his gut. Had he underestimated her? For the first time, he felt he might not win this. Weeks turned into a tense standoff. Ryan, obsessed with control, tried every manipulation. Sarah resisted, unwavering. She was a fortress he couldn't breach. His attempts only seemed to strengthen her resolve. But something shifted in Ryan. It wasn't just respect for her resilience, it was deeper. She was disarming him emotionally. Uneasy, confused, he found himself thinking of her not as an opponent, but as someone he wanted to understand. One night, alone in his penthouse, staring at the city, the lights that once symbolized power now felt empty. Why was he feeling this? Sarah was just a 6-month wife, a game piece. But she was stirring something within him. He, who controlled his emotions, was now being affected. Sarah saw through his carefully constructed wall, and it made him vulnerable. As Ryan wrestled with this, Sarah continued her routine, growing more distant as if waiting. An invisible wall between them, and it tormented him. Was it pride? Fear of losing control? Something about Sarah drew him in a way he couldn't explain. You're different, Ryan, Mike observed during dinner. Usually you'd have this under control. This woman's challenging you. Ryan forced a smile, hating to admit Mike was right. Something was changing. That night, Ryan came home determined to end this. Get Sarah out of his head. Remind himself it was just a contract. He found her reading, oblivious to his presence. We need to talk, Ryan said, breaking the silence. Sarah looked up, calm, closing her book. Of course, she replied, as if expecting this. Ryan sat opposite her. Tension hung heavy. He couldn't treat this like a formality anymore. What are we doing here, Sarah? He asked, sincerity surprising even himself. This started as a game, a bet, but I don't know what to think anymore. Sarah stared at him. I'm not playing a game, Ryan. Never was. Her voice was calm, meaningful. I agreed to this for reasons beyond you. Money, control, none of that matters. I'm here for something bigger. If you haven't realized that, maybe it's time you opened your eyes. Ryan felt a tightness in his chest. She was hinting at something. Frustration surged. I know you have secrets, Sarah, but what irritates me is, the more I try to understand you, the less control I have, and I hate that. He stood, restless. Sarah remained calm, watching him. She rose, walked towards him, stopping close. Ryan, she began, softly, this isn't about control. You've always tried to dominate everything, but with me, you'll learn control isn't always the answer. Sometimes, things just need to be. Ryan looked into her eyes, a connection he'd never felt. He was truly seeing Sarah. What do you want? He asked, voice softer. Sarah smiled, a mysterious smile that sent chills down his spine. I want you to figure that out for yourself, Ryan. She walked away, leaving him alone with his thoughts. Days passed. Distance seemed to grow, yet Ryan felt closer to Sarah than ever. Obsessed with her secrets, her intentions, he felt himself losing control. He was changing, and it terrified him. 6 months neared its end. For Ryan, each day was an eternity. He could barely sleep. The looming revelation he felt was close, made his stomach churn. Sarah was an enigma, not just a bet, but someone who knew something he didn't. The obsession to understand her consumed him. Detectives, digging into her past, every lead pursued. But Sarah was always steps ahead, orchestrating everything, controlling the game from the start. Late one night, Ryan arrived home after a meeting, balcony light on. Sarah, sitting, overlooking the city, like a queen surveying her empire. Tonight, he knew, everything would be revealed. Fear tightened his throat. He walked to her, footsteps echoing. Sarah didn't turn. The air was heavy. Both knew something big was coming. I need answers, Sarah, Ryan said, voice firm, heart racing. I can't take this game anymore. Tell me the truth. Sarah sighed, rose, turned to face him. Her eyes, usually calm, now held an emotion he couldn't place. Dark, fierce. The truth, Ryan? A bitter smile. Do you really want the truth? He nodded, braced. You have no idea who I am, Ryan, Sarah began, voice chillingly cold. You see people as pawns, but this time, Ryan, you were the pawn. I've been playing this game from the start. Ryan stepped back, mind racing. What are you talking about? Sarah stepped closer, eyes burning. Richards, she continued, voice sharp. Remember the name? My father owned a small company until you came along and destroyed it. Ryan's mind flashed. Richards, he stammered. What? My father, Ryan, Sarah's voice broke. Honest man, supporting our family until you took everything, ruined him. He lost everything. It led to his death. Sarah paused, tears welling. He killed himself because of your empire, your success at any cost. Her words were a physical blow. Ryan stood frozen as memories surfaced. Deals, contracts, lives affected by his ambition. He couldn't remember every company he'd crushed. But now? Sarah, Ryan tried to interrupt, desperate. No, she shouted, anger boiling. You have no idea what you caused. Not just money, Ryan, destroyed lives. You took my father, the only person I had. While you thrived, my mother and I sank. Luxury for you, nothing for us. Ryan was stunned, speechless. Guilt crushed him. I planned everything, Sarah continued, tone controlled, resentment still raw. When I heard about your bet, I saw my chance. I approached you. Accepted the bet. I wanted you to feel a fraction of what I felt, to know what it's like to be played, manipulated, powerless. Ryan trembled. Control, victory, all crumbling. He was the target, Sarah the player. She controlled everything. Sarah, Ryan began, voice weak. I didn't know. No, Ryan, Sarah interrupted, stepping closer, face to face. You never knew because you never cared. You destroyed lives without a thought. Now I'm here not to destroy you, but to make you never forget, to feel the pain you caused, and that pain, Ryan, will haunt you. Sarah's words were a sentence. Ryan faced the consequences of his actions. Guilt crushed him. He'd lost more than a bet, lost something irreplaceable. Sarah stepped away. Silence echoed. Ryan collapsed onto the couch, speechless. Emptiness. Sarah's revelation was a storm in Ryan's mind. Every word shattered his world. The woman he'd tried to manipulate, the pawn in his game, had flipped the board. Ryan was out of control. Sarah gave him no time to process. After the truth bomb, she left him alone, drowning in guilt. Ryan stood motionless, penthouse air suffocating. Everything felt like it was collapsing. He wanted to apologize, explain, but words failed. How could he justify such cruelty? Days after, Sarah did the unimaginable. She ignored him. Her presence was a constant, silent accusation. She walked past him like he was invisible. At breakfast, silence, barely a glance. Words died in his throat. Ryan, used to command, to attention, was now ignored in his own home. Unbearable. Sarah, he tried one morning as she prepared to leave. We need to talk. She stopped, back to him, adjusting her coat. Silence, heavy. Ryan waited, anxious. Any reaction, anger even, would be better than this indifference. But Sarah said nothing, simply walked out, closing the door, leaving Ryan with the echoing click. The pain of being ignored by someone he was starting to see as more than an adversary was new, agonizing. He was used to controlling, winning. Now he was being manipulated, punished by silence, powerless. Sarah didn't stop at silence. She began undermining his confidence in subtle, painful ways. At work, meetings rescheduled without notice, business decisions questioned, projects failing mysteriously. He knew it was Sarah, her influence, invisible strings pulling his life apart. At home, worse. Absolute disdain, deliberate distance, avoiding conversations, meals, any connection. When he followed, trying to fix things, cold looks as if his presence was an offense. One night, he found her reading, living room calm, a trap. He sat, tried again. Sarah, he began, voice low, pleading. I know I've done horrible things, caused you pain. Please, can we work this out? Talk. Sarah slowly closed the book, not looking at him. When she finally did, her face was so cold, he shivered. Talk? she repeated, bitter laugh. You think there's something left to say? Words, Ryan? After everything? I was wrong, Sarah. I know that, Ryan insisted, rising, moving closer, desperate. I'd do anything to fix this. I can change, I swear. She finally looked at him, gaze piercing. Change? She said, rising slowly. Think changing now erases everything? Brings my father back? Fixes years of misery? No, Ryan, it won't. She stepped closer. What you do now isn't for me. It's for you. You'll carry this weight, this guilt, forever. Ryan stood silent. No easy redemption, no instant forgiveness. He wanted to fix something unfixable. Sarah was beyond simple repair. Days passed. Sarah intensified her punishments. Disdainful looks, frustration turning to desperation. He tried to show he was changing, bettering himself. Indifference or sarcasm in return. One night, disastrous meeting at work. Project sabotaged. Ryan came home to Sarah on the phone, laughing. Fragments of conversation, his business decisions. She was discussing his failures. He knew. Sarah was destroying everything, subtly, calculatedly. Only he noticed. And she made him suffer in silence. When Sarah hung up, Ryan waited in the living room, stared at her, exhausted. Anger, pain. You're tearing everything apart, aren't you? He said, voice low, frustrated. Work, here, destroying my life. Sarah looked at him impassively, arms crossed. Destroying your life? She asked, eyebrow raised. I'm just giving back what you gave. Don't worry, Ryan, I won't ruin you financially. Too simple. I want you to live with the pain, feel every little loss, just like I did. Watch everything you built crumble and know it's your fault. Ryan felt the ground disappear again. Nightmare. Always the winner, controlling destinies. Now, target of cold, meticulous revenge, Sarah didn't want quick destruction. Day by day suffering, every defeat, every disdainful look, until nothing but regret remained. Weeks passed. Sarah continued ignoring, punishing. Ryan, once arrogant, now a shadow, trying to earn forgiveness he knew might never come. Redemption attempts always insufficient. Trapped in guilt, pain, a cycle Sarah controlled perfectly. Worst was yet to come. One night, final confrontation. Coldness in Sarah he'd never seen. She approached him, broken on the couch, spoke words that would haunt him forever. Ryan, you took something I can never get back, she began, voice calm, sharp. Now I'm returning the favor, and you will live with that, forever. With those words, Sarah left. Nothing more to say. Punishment in motion. Ryan knew he'd never be the same. Ryan Sterling felt trapped in a maze of guilt and despair. Sarah had succeeded in making him feel powerless. Weeks after her revelation, unbearable, no longer the confident, arrogant man, a shadow. Every attempt to speak to Sarah met with coldness. Her indifference ate at him. Sleepless nights, only thoughts of fixing what he'd broken. But the weight of truth, past actions, made it seem impossible. Something shifted in Ryan. Words were worthless. Apologies meaningless. Sarah needed genuine change, transformation. He'd do anything to prove it. Actions, not promises. One morning, determination. He wouldn't just wallow. He'd start over. Repair damage. Prove to Sarah he'd changed. First, give her space. Respect her time, no pressure, but also show he was there subtly. He started noticing small things about Sarah, daily routines, preferences, likes, observed her without invading. Peonies, her favorite flowers. Strong coffee, no sugar. Details once insignificant, now keys to reconnection. That afternoon, best flower shop, peonies, no note, kitchen table, simple, meaningful, waited anxiously as she went for a walk. Sarah returned, found the bouquet. No words, but Ryan saw her stop, pick up a flower, smell it. Small gesture but a sign, not outright rejection. Progress. Days followed. Small gestures continued. Breakfast table set, strong coffee. Little things she liked within reach. No forcing meetings, conversations. Slowly showing he'd changed. Paying attention, wanting to care. Sarah still distant. Wall between them. Breaking through would take time, but he wouldn't give up. Committed to showing her, winning her back, on her terms, respecting her space. One cold evening, Sarah on the balcony, blanket, city lights. Hesitantly, Ryan approached. Hot tea. Thought you might like something hot, he said. Calm voice, no pressure. Sarah silent at first. Took the cup, eyes on the city. Ryan stood beside her, silent, present, not intruding. Silence tense, but not unbearable, something shifting. Why are you doing this, Ryan? Sarah finally broke the silence, voice soft, firm. Chance to speak. Careful, deep breath. Because I realize talking doesn't mean anything anymore, he began, looking at the horizon. Words don't matter. What I did can't be fixed with apologies. But I'm trying to show you I'm changing. Want to be better. Not just for you, Sarah. For me, too. Sarah silent, holding the tea. Cold wind, tension easing slightly. You can't change the past, Ryan, she finally said, softer. I know, he replied sincerely. But I can change the future. Sarah looked at him, different in her eyes. Hardness still there, but a flicker of curiosity. Not ready to forgive, but a crucial moment. Touched on something she might want to believe in. Days followed. Small gestures continued. Different energy. Sarah still distant, but not rejecting him. Accepted flowers, tea, even brief superficial breakfast conversations. Barriers lowering slowly. Real test, one evening. Meeting, dressed, ready to leave. Sarah walked in, expression unreadable. Can you cancel your meeting? She asked suddenly. Ryan surprised. Never interested in his schedule, hesitated, then nodded. Phone, canceled meeting. First time in weeks, Sarah willing to spend time with him, not missing this. Couch, distance between them. Silence not uncomfortable. Sarah thoughtful, processing past months. I'm not ready to fully forgive you, Ryan, Sarah said, breaking silence. But you're showing me something different. I see you're trying. Maybe that's a beginning. Ryan's heart raced. Couldn't rush. But her words, hope alive, rode ahead long, but willing to take every step, earning forgiveness, maybe love. We'll see, Sarah said, soft sigh. We'll see if you can. Silence heavy, but full of possibilities. Sarah rose, door, leaving Ryan alone. But not despair. Hope. Long journey ahead, but hope now. Weeks after that quiet evening, mix of tension and hope. Progress with Sarah. No longer absolute coldness, but not fully open. Hesitation, waiting. Tested, ready. Didn't know something bigger was coming. Ryan dedicated himself to proving change. Cancelled work, home, available for Sarah, no pressure. Small gestures, breakfast, trivial evening talks. Routine, ice melting. Sarah no longer disdainful. But still something bothered him. Secret she kept. Reserved, avoiding deeper conversations. Waiting for the right moment. Quiet night, rain tapping windows. Shift in Sarah's behavior. Introspective, distant. Lost in thought. Tried not to push, but curiosity eating at him. What was she hiding? Silence unbearable. Ryan broke the barrier. Sarah, he began, voice low, fearful. I know there's still something between us you haven't told me. I can feel it. Looked in her eyes. Please, if there's something you're holding back, I need to know. Sarah, hands folded in lap. Deep breath. Avoiding his gaze. Silence agonizing. Patient. Forcing it now could undo everything. Finally, looked at him, eyes pain and resolve. You're right, Ryan, she said, soft, heavy voice. Holding something back. Didn't think I could tell you. Maybe it's time. Ryan felt air tighten. Whatever it was, would change everything. Leaned forward, waiting, dreading. Remember the company you destroyed? My father's? Sarah began, tone firm, pain in her expression. Told you you destroyed our family. True, but not all. Ryan confused. What do you mean? Sarah lowered eyes, fighting tears. I was pregnant, Ryan. Voice quieter, whisper. Words crushed Ryan, blinked, processing, unbelievable. What? He whispered, stunned. Pregnant then. When everything happened, Sarah continued, eyes on the floor. Lost everything, father gone, pressure, stress, I lost the baby. Ryan felt ground disappear, barely breathe. Revelation hit like a punch, unimaginable. Guilt, already consuming him, grew. Destroyed not just company, family, but a life. Sarah, Ryan tried, voice choked. I didn't know, I never could have imagined. She finally looked at him, tears streaming. Face marked by pain, but strength undeniable. No, you didn't know, Sarah said, hurt, resentment in her voice. Because you never cared to know. You destroyed lives, Ryan. Didn't even look at the people in your way. I lost my baby. You went on, life as if nothing happened. Her words knives. Wanted to do something, say something, fix it. Knew nothing would erase what Sarah endured. I don't have words, Ryan managed, voice weak, despairing. I know what I did is unforgivable. I'll never forgive myself. But please, Sarah, I'd do anything to make this right. Anything. Sarah watched him long moment, Silence heavy. Ryan knew nothing could bring baby back, fix past, desperate to ease her pain. Finally, Sarah deep breath, closed eyes. Internal decision. Opened them. Expression changed. Pain still there, but something else too. Something he couldn't identify. I don't know if I can forgive you, Ryan, she said honestly. What you did happened devastating. Paused, weighing words. I can see you're trying. Maybe there's a chance one day I can move forward. But not easy, not quick. Ryan nodded, hope and despair. Road ahead tough, but Sarah willing to consider a different future. I'll do whatever it takes, Ryan responded, determination in his voice. No matter how long, I'll prove I've changed. Be someone you trust, someone you can maybe one day forgive. Sarah looked at him. Small opening, not full forgiveness, not end of hurt, but something, beginning. We'll see, Sarah said softly. We'll see if you can. Silence heavy, but full of possibilities. Sarah stood, door, leaving Ryan alone. But not despair now, hope. Long journey, but hope. Days after Sarah's revelation, transformative for Ryan. Every word stayed with him, heavy guilt. But instead of regret, fuel for change. Not just win Sarah back, but become worthy of her respect. Respect of those he'd hurt. Morning, Ryan made decision. Not stand by, condemned by past. Start over, repair damage. Prove true change. First step, track down families destroyed by his business. First visit, family of old competitor, business ruined years ago. Unannounced. Modest house, far cry from opulence. Man answered, stranger, pain in his eyes familiar. I'm Ryan Sterling, Ryan said, sincerity new to his voice. I'm here to apologize. Man stared, disbelief. Apologize? Bitter laugh. What's that change now? Can't change past, Ryan replied firmly, but can try to rebuild future, offer compensation, help fix what I destroyed. Weeks. Ryan's redemption journey. Knocked on doors, met families, offered not just money but time, effort. Truly understand impact of actions. Donated to small businesses hurt by his maneuvers, recovery programs for entrepreneurs. Sarah watched from distance. Cautious at first, observing. Knew he was trying, but forgiveness wouldn't be easy. Days passed. Ryan showed true transformation. Sarah felt something new. Renewed respect, admiration, unexpected. He was changing, proving words weren't empty. One evening, Sarah balcony, city lights. Ryan quietly approached. Just returned from reconciliation visit. Expression different, calmer, resolute. How was it today? Sarah asked, still looking at horizon. Ryan sighed, deep sigh, months of effort, regret. Tough, he admitted, but necessary. Every conversation, every apology, step toward better person. Not just for you, Sarah, for me too. She finally turned. Something different in her gaze. Hardness softened. Saw Ryan truly changing. No longer arrogant bet maker. Someone fighting to be different. Fighting for them. I can see that, Ryan, Sarah said, voice soft, firm. And I want you to know, I'm ready to try. Maybe it's time we leave past behind. Build something new. Ryan felt relief he hadn't realized he'd been waiting for. Words meant more than he could imagine. Sarah willing to give them a chance. Not bet couple, but two people starting over. 6-month marriage agreement ended. Something surprising. Sarah and Ryan grew closer. Conversations less formal, less tense. Laughter, connection, love blossomed unexpectedly. No longer distant couple, arranged marriage. Two people rediscovering each other genuine, heartfelt. One night, 6-month period ending, Ryan prepared special dinner. Pivotal moment. Come so far. Didn't want marriage to end here. Sarah, he said during dinner, nervous voice, I know our agreement almost over, but I don't want this to end. Don't want us to end. I've fallen in love with you, Sarah. Truly, want us to continue. Real couple now. No bets, no games. Sarah surprised. Sincerity of his words. Heart warmed. Realized she felt something too. Grown quietly. Started as adversaries. Now in love. Deeply. Really? I love you too, Ryan, Sarah said, gentle, firm voice. And I want to try. Build something with you. Equals. Real couple. Pure happiness for both. Overcome impossible obstacles. Ready to move forward together. Months later, Sarah noticed changes in her body. Morning sickness. Checkup confirmed. Pregnant. Told Ryan. Pure joy. embraced her, laughing, crying. Everything they'd gone through, pain, heartache, led to this renewal. New life together, family on the way. "Want to do this right this time," Ryan said, knowing what to do. "Want to marry you again, for real, not bet. No reason but loving you, wanting to spend my life with you." Sarah smiled, tears of happiness. "I want that too, Ryan," she replied. "Real wedding this time, fresh start. New wedding, intimate celebration, close friends, family. No superficial glamour, no bets, no business. Just Sarah and Ryan, united by true love, ready for future." Ryan knew still had much to prove to Sarah, himself, families he'd harmed, but now had something to fight for. New life, woman he loved, child on the way. Determined to be man Sarah deserved, father-child needed. Dancing slowly at ceremony's end, Sarah rested head on Ryan's chest, whispered, "Who would have thought? All started with a bet." Ryan smiled, held her close. "Who would have thought? Best bet I ever made. Future full of love, redemption, hope, ready for next chapter."